Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on Amun the card game by Super Meeple and Surfin' Meeple. Those names are really similar. So Amun the card game is obviously a card game version of the board game Amun which I actually loved. We have a review of that. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. But I really loved Amun It isn't in my top 10, but it would be really high up there. It would probably be in like my top 25 or so. And the edition that's out right now by TMG is really good, really top-notch production quality. I highly recommend you check that one out. So this is a smaller, quicker version with cards instead of a board. Does it hold up? And I would say yes, for what it is. For being a smaller, quicker version of Amun it does a really good job. Now, ultimately, I still liked Amun better. But Amun is such a big game. It's really long. There's a lot of action cards that were really fun, but you really need to know those cards really well. So a good example of how good this game is, and you know the difference is that there's no board, and the things that you bid on are cards that come out there, and it has the same kind of dynamic as pyramids or points. Farmers help you get more money later. Onks help you be first player, and I think that's it. Camels. There's also camels give you points if the offering is low. You still go through the same beat of you bid on cards just like you would bid on locations in Amun and there's an offering where we all offer up money, and whoever offers up the most money gets bonuses for that. The amount of money each farmer gives you depends on where the offering fell on this track. Actually, they use the back of the box, which is really clever. It isn't super necessary. This could have been a board, but I guess maybe it's a little bit cheaper or something to print it on the back of the box instead of printing out a board. But it is a cool gimmick. People walking by seeing that you're using the box in a game is really clever. But again, it follows a lot of the same beats as Amun the board game. But I think the biggest difference is that, well, I guess there's no wiping away of, like in Amun you had that second age where you'd be building up pyramids, and you'd score all your points, and then everything would get wiped and you'd start all over again. So those pyramids that you built and got points for, maybe somebody else could bid on them. So that really cool aspect is gone, and a lot of the cards, the take that cards. Like there were some cards that when somebody outbid you, you can play to jump ahead of them. We can play so that nobody else can outbid you on a spot. They got rid of those, action cards. Because again, to streamline it and make it quicker and faster. But a really good example of why I thought this game worked well is I taught it to some new people. They're kind of new to gaming, and it was their first time playing it. And after we were done, and I even admitted to them, I said, well, I think the board game is better, but I did enjoy this. One guy goes, so can we play it again? Let's just do it again right now. Because he really liked it, but also like he kind of got it halfway through. A lot of games are like, oh, I realize, you realize the value of things, especially when it's bidding. And I guess the other thing that the board game had better than this was that the bidding was, I'm going to bid on place A. Okay, then another person comes and outbids me for place A, so I have to immediately hop to place B. And here, if somebody outbids you, you just take back your card, which is, your money card, you take that back, and when it comes back around to you, you can place it back. So you can, in theory, outbid that same person for that same spot. But the dynamic is still a good bidding system. It's still better than the general auction bidding system that I tend not to like. So overall, I liked original Amun better. I liked the board game better, but it's a much longer game. It's like 2 hours at least, and you really need to explain it really well, let everybody settle in. It's best when you play with experienced players, because a new player, again, won't really know the value of things. This, you can play it 2 or 3 times, maybe not 4, but 2 or 3 in the amount of time you would get to play one game of Amun so everybody can learn the cards and the values and everything, and everybody can get well acquainted. I had a really good time with it. So obviously it's not going to replace the board game Amun but maybe sometimes when I want to get the Amun experience, but I don't have 2 hours and nobody's going to be that interested in it, I'll pull out Amun the card game. And the same caveat that I had with Amun the board game, I'm going to have with this one, is that you should play it with max players if able. 5 definitely, 4 if you have to, like you wanted to play with 5 and a 4th person, the 5th person didn't come. But other than that, bidding games in general are always better when there's a lot of players. There's a lot of interaction. A lot of people can outbid each other. You know, a lot of friendships can form and rivalries can form and stuff. When it's just two or three, the dynamic is a little bit different. So that would be my recommendation: is if you have 5 people and you really want to try a really solid, quick bidding game, or if you've played Amun and you love it but you don't get it to the table all that often, you should definitely click the link in the description box down below, get yourself a copy, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. Oh, one other thing I really like is I really like how all the player pieces can fit right in this little baggie. Isn't that just the best? Of like, this is green player stuff, here's yellow player stuff, here's purple player stuff. You know, you don't have to, you know?